Good day, everyone. Today, we will going to have our lecture on data analytics from Module 1 to Module 4. To start with, we will have Module 1. This is Introduction to Data Analytics in Clinical Pharmacy and, of course, in Healthcare. So I have prepared this module aligned with our topics course outline for data analytics. These are the objectives for this module. By the end of this module, the students, our clinical pharmacy students, will be able to define data analytics and describe the role of data analytics in descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive roles in healthcare and most especially in clinical pharmacy practice. I would like everyone to identify common sources of data in our clinical pharmacy setting, in electronic health records, usual pharmacy records, whatever claims that we will encounter, and registries, and understand their strength and limitations. I would like you to be able to explain how analytics can support evidence based decision making, and of course, medication safety and pharmacovigilance. The most important thing that our data can give us is to help patient outcomes, and that is through pharmacovigilance. I'd like you to appreciate challenges and prerequisites such as data quality, interoperability, informatics infrastructure for the effective data analytics in pharmacy setting. Now let's move forward to the discussion of the topics under this introduction for Module 1. For the definition, data analytics in healthcare refers to the systematic use of statistical data in your clinical research, in your proposal, in your journey as clinical pharmacist. There is embedded statistical operational tools required for you to undergo, required for you to process, because that is already part of our curriculum, our role as clinical pharmacists, that will be able to process, to analyze data from statistical point of view. Aside from that, computational and data management techniques are also used in healthcare, and that is also under data analytics. We are expected that we are aware how to convert raw health data into actionable insights. What do you mean by this is the numbers, the results of our patients should not be buried in the charts alone. It has to be analyzed so that we can generate actionable insights on these different numbers for us to be able to correct or to improve anything in our system. For our patient care, of course, for system performance, and for research. So we have research here, and you are already undergoing research methodology under the subject clinical research 1 and 2. So hence, it is overlapping with data analytics, because whatever you will learn and you have learned from the previous semester and you will learn this semester with clinical research, it has to do with data analytics. You should understand that it should not end with research alone. It should be analyzed later on. That is why it is important to publish your work, to share your work to different stakeholders, not just keep it on your own. So as the volume and variety of health data grow, such as electronic health records. In the Philippines, most of us rely on basic or the handwritten notes. We really do not have the luxury of having electronic health records in our hospitals and community linked together. But this is one area that I want you to realize we really need to have electronic health records, because in data analytics, electronic health records embedded into our health system connected to different hospitals is really a game changer, because it allows pharmacists, it allows doctors to review and to do pharmacovigilance efficiently. Aside from our regular or conventional health records and what we dream of about electronic health records, we have pharmacy dispensation logs. We have here for hospital pharmacists, we have dispensing logs. Now, in our system, it is electronic based. We have also claims databases. These are from different sections in the hospital. And we have also patient generated data. All of these are growing in volume in the hospitals and even in the pharmacy. And we have to make sure that these are analyzed. This will not be buried. This will not be forgotten. This has to be analyzed. And as a pharmacist, if you have nothing to do in your area of practice, then come to look for data that are data that are just in your shelves waiting for you to analyze. So the analytics becomes central to understanding what has happened in the past and what are the patterns that led to this existence. We can also, using data analytics, explain causes of different actions, different circumstances, different events, and that is called diagnostic. And with the data that we come to analyze, we will be able to forecast future events, and that made it predictive. So again, data analytics can help us describe the past, the patterns of the past, give us diagnostics, the causes of the events, and predictive helps us forecast future events. In our practice, the potential of data analytics is particularly relevant. As pharmacists, we can monitor medication use patterns. We can detect ADRs. We can evaluate medication adherence, optimize therapy. We can contribute to population level pharmacovigilance. These things are not visions only. These things can be done. These are all doable, because all we need for these things to happen are the data that is sitting on our shelves. We just need to give time and give proper attention to these different data, execute data analytics so that we'll be able to generate either descriptive, diagnostic, or prescriptive outcome from our analysis. Using large real world data sets enables us to detect rare but clinically significant drug related safety signals that may be missed by randomized controlled trials. If we come to realize RCTs, they are people that are in very perfect condition. This does not really, people with the disease on this RCT does not really represent what is happening in the real world. Our data analytics from the patients themselves will give us the data that is missing from these RCTs that we have. So you are challenged now, clinical pharmacists, to this new role. Actually, this is not a new role for pharmacists. This is a long-standing role that only few has has risen up and taken the challenge, accepted the challenge. We have to accept and we have to normalize doing data analytics in our practice. Big data analytics in healthcare often involves integrating heterogeneous data sets. What are these heterogeneous data sets? We have already encountered almost all of these heterogeneous data sets. These are coming from structured data such as laboratory results. We have CBC, X-ray. We have a lot of routine and screening tests, diagnostics, and prescriptions. Also in our hospitals and community, these are sources of data. If you are in a community pharmacist if you are a community pharmacist right now, you can collect all prescriptions that has linezolid. You can collect all prescriptions that has oral contraceptives, or collect any particular prescription on this particular condition, and try to find patterns, try to analyze prescription patterns, optimize how these patients are being are being instructed to take these medicines. Are there any things that we need to improve on these prescriptions provided by the doctors? There are also unstructured data sets. These are clinical notes provided or taken down by our doctors that we can freely read for us to understand what has happened during the patient's stay in the hospital. The third one is we have longitudinal records. This can be from the integrated system that the hospitals have. Also, this can be from any cohort studies that we can find online on the web. We have administrative claims. This can be very specific for insurance, so that all of our review will be. There are some cases that patients also have insurance claims, and as clinical pharmacists, we can review and we can help patients and the insurance company generating reliable evidence-based data. And there are also patient-generated data that needs also to be triangulated. All of these are sources, data sets. All of these are heterogeneous, and this require robust data infrastructure. Interoperability, meaning you can work and you are really asked to work with other people, other healthcare practitioners, and also you need some information support to transform raw data into usable formats. So if we really implement data analytics, we can facilitate what we call as personalized medicine. If we will able to interconnect and keep this information patient based, individualized, then we'll be able to achieve personalized medicine here in the Philippines. It is not impossible because it is already existing and being done in the other countries. What they have created is a network of people and establishments that are ready to work with each other. So I think what we need to do here in our country is to gather business owners and clinicians and help find that certain compromise, how to decrease the number of small and pop-up pharmacies that cannot keep data of our patients and promotes improper medication use, and allow these reliable pharmacies and hospitals to navigate and help patient outcomes. We can help that with the resource optimization. By optimization, you mean not just full access, but responsible access to medicine. And we can also have predictive risk stratification. If we limit the number of pharmacies within a certain area, there would be concentration of patients. Assigned patients, for example, in a certain barangay, there are a lot of pharmacies. Just nearby UIC in the radius of 5 kilometers, there can be at least 20 pharmacies. And what do you mean by limit the number of pharmacies, such as pop-up pharmacies, is to have only a registered and designated pharmacy each of these residents can go to and have their prescription be filled. In our country, we can fill our prescription anywhere, and even they accept electronic prescription. There are times that it is really inevitable, but for us to make sure that there will be resource optimization, we can achieve personalized medicine, then we have to direct our patient to go to their designated pharmacy where their records are, their patient history, their history of illnesses, their medication history, social history, and among other things, such as vaccination history. All of these, if gathered in one community pharmacy, whenever a patient needs to be admitted in the future or needs for consult, the doctors will not be having hard time to review the patient and reach to the level of personalized medicine because of the integrated system interoperability of the data that we have. Even though it's heterogeneous, it is possible for a good analytics to be done because of that strategy. However, leveraging analytics in clinical pharmacy, of course, is not without challenges. This is an example of a challenge that we can identify: deriving accurate drug related phenotypes. Abroad, the first world countries, phenotypes are really screened, but even in the existence of electronic health records and phenotyping, this has remained to be challenged. But here in the Philippines, we are missing this. Also, missing prescription records. They have difficulty with this. They have missing prescription records. In the Philippines, our problem is not missing prescription records. It's almost the absence of prescription records. We have prescription being filed in our shelves, but they are filed according to the dates it was dispensed, the dates it maybe was completed. It is not really recorded, or it is not compiled per patient. And the most optimum way is to do it. The prescription records should be compiled in the pharmacy per patient, because when time comes to patient needs it, you can pull it out and you can help your doctors or the patient with any concerns that they raise. Aside from missing prescription records, we have also variable data entry practices, and this one is the lack of standardization. I have already mentioned the lack of standardization that may cause biased results. Moreover, while predictive analytics and machine learning offer promise, we have methodological rigor, validation, and interpretability remains as critical to avoid misapplication or overfitting. These terms here, methodological rigor, validation, and interpretability, these can be achieved or these can be learned during your clinical research. So you cannot execute data analytics without having to experience research on your own and understand how to do methodological rigor, validations, and interpretation of the data. The level of expertise always comes with practice. And do not skip practicing, do not skip learning. You have to appreciate the process you are right now with clinical research so that when the time comes that you will be the one in charge for this data coming from the patient, based on your clinical research, you will be confident enough to analyze it and help your patient with what they need for pharmacovigilance, for individualized therapy, and among other things. Despite of all these challenges that I have mentioned, the increasing adoption of healthcare analytics reflects a transformative shift. Analytics supports evidence based care. So, if you will realize how important data analytics is, if you realize how big the impact it can provide to your patient, what you mean by impact is a good impact. It will improve system efficiency. It aids population health. Who doesn't like that? You yourself can benefit from it. Our pharmacy, uh, our our business, aside from that, our family will benefit from it. So who doesn't like it? But who will going to who will going to practice it? We as pharmacists are called to do so. We are called to do so. And as working pharmacists right now, you have the responsibility to look at this data and try to reflect on this transformative shift that we have here. Pharmacovigilance is the highest form of it. We can aim for it, but we can do our small steps, our baby steps. And until we will come together and we can all together strengthen our pharmacovigilance practice, not just concentrated in these large hospitals, but when you say strengthen pharmacovigilance, it will represent all healthcare system here in the Philippines, because our patient are not just those who can pay the top three largest hospitals in the country. Our patients can go down back to the barangay health centers and even to the smallest barangay with the smallest community pharmacy. So I would like to empower pharmacists. I'm empowering pharmacists to take active roles in research, quality improvement, and patient safety initiatives. The next section is a contextualization to our clinical pharmacy practice. I am hoping everyone has understood already the relevance and the role that you are asked as clinical pharmacists. and why we have data analytics in our curriculum. For clinical pharmacists, data analytics both represents practical tool and research enabler. I have explained it already a while ago. If it's properly deployed, analytics can allow pharmacists to move beyond anecdotal or manual review. We can see medication use trends. If you can, based on your research practices right now, if you can learn how to analyze your data, the numbers there, just an easy Google sheet. Just to input your dispensing records, you can analyze, you can do charts and find history trends, and then you can evaluate how doctors prescribe, how patients avail such services and such. Also across patient populations. And we can be able to detect non-adherence patterns. If we still have time, if we can have time, we can do check of drug-drug interaction within the prescription itself. Or maybe we can identify off-label uses and medication errors. So what we typically give emphasis is medication errors. But with that, there's so much things that we can see in a prescription, not just medication error. So all of these, even if we only have prescriptions or compiled prescriptions in our shelves, we can do all of this if you can really accept the role of a data analytics clinical pharmacist. An example here is integrating prescription claims, or maybe we can create a basic electronic health records. You can start if you are a pharmacy owner. It's not impossible to come up with an electronic health record. It is just like having an inventory software. It is just as simple as having a Google Sheet. Then you type your patient's name, you can encode, just document. It is just a matter of documentation. And if when we do it online, it will be easier for us to retrieve the data and to analyze and to create charts and to have find any chance on it. We can have we can identify risks. And even in our small butika, even in our very small hospital, we will be able to execute our role, our clinical role, because we have come to analyze our heterogeneous data sets correctly and on time. Additionally, pharmacovigilance, this is historically reliant on voluntary reporting and can benefit from real-world data analytics. We can mine large EHR databases. So we don't have anything to mine. We cannot do data mining if we haven't bank any data to our system. So in the Philippines, that's a challenge because we cannot do pharmacovigilance because pharmacovigilance needs data mining. And even in prescription reporting, we have difficulty with the FDA because no one, or there would be very seldom reporting that is sent to FDA. So it if we will need to do pharmacovigilance, then we have to make sure that we are willing to do data banking first before mining. So we need to have data banking before data mining. Once we have large data, then we can mine and we can do data analytics in a higher level of pharmacovigilance. If we were able to achieve this, we can uncover safety signals, we can quantify risk, contribute to post marketing surveillance, or we can even do comparative effective studies. Finally, as pharmacy workflows evolve with informatics, automate, like for example, we have automated dispensing, EMR, it becomes foundational to process optimization, quality assurance, and outcome evaluation. It will make our processes in our pharmacy very smooth with the help of these tools. I do not mean about very high tech tools. I'm just trying to make you understand that if we want it, then there are other tools that are very useful, friendly, and cost nothing. If we are just that innovative, then we can use even Google Sheets, even offline Excel to help us with this, to start with our data banking. Pharmacists, you have now your additional training for clinical research and data analytics. This will help you have that analytics competence and can lead initiatives to reduce what we have here, medication error, help and optimize therapy, support institutional or population level medication management. Furthermore, I have here examples that you can adopt or ponder on. We can have predicting medication non adherence. We also have post marketing drug safety monitoring and risk stratification for high risk patients. These different examples might be very uh, delusional for our level, but if you come try to review it, how this is done, there are things that can be done with baby steps that we have in the resources that we have. If we really want to engage, then this can be achieved. This medication non-adherence prediction can be achieved. Safety monitoring can be achieved. Risk stratification can be achieved. Why is it achievable? Even with our resources is scarce? Because we all have the data. And what we need is all energy. Your acceptance to the role of being a data analyst. So do not just allow these prescriptions, these data, these heterogeneous data sets sitting in your shelves. Try to check it out, try to mobilize it, and try to ponder on how to become a data analyst pharmacist for the future of your family, for the optimization of our patients, for your sake. All right. So that's module one. That's the relevance, the introduction, the relevance, and what is your role in data analytics, my dear pharmacy students. Now, I have here questions for you to answer. I will post the submission for these questions. So just try to review these questions and upload your answers when it is available in our classroom. The essay questions also, we have here 3 questions that you need to answer on your own. Now, for conclusion, for our module 1. Me, I'm a pharmacist, but I do not practice in the clinical setting. I have experience, but I think it's negligible already because I've been in the academe for almost 15 years. I have some exposure during internships, but I think it is not that concrete and not that strong compared to your daily activities as practicing pharmacist, whatever it is, it's in hospital or it's in the community. But all of us as healthcare practitioners, we have this reality of seeing scarcity, seeing patients die, seeing medication scarcity, seeing resources being withheld. So, as healthcare is currently facing these challenges, there's also healthcare that is being digitized. It's two different worlds. And we have to realize that even in the scarcity of our conditions or of our circumstances, we have to find a way to mobilize our resources, to make it digitized, to integrate data analytics on it, because it is really essential, not just in our competency as clinical pharmacists, it is essential for us to execute and help how to execute our role and help our patients have its optimized patient uh, and have patient optimized and to make and help our patient optimize their health. Our ability to extract, analyze, and interpret real world medication and health data enables us pharmacists to contribute beyond dispensing. We can research, we can do safety monitoring, we can do quality improvement, and of course, we can do evidence based care. While challenges remain, such as data analytics, data quality, interoperability, the rigor of it, the integration of analytics into our practice offers substantial opportunities for optimizing therapy. Come to think of it, if you have compiled patient's prescription for the last 1 year, and then here patient comes in, and you will tell the patient, you have been to this drug and shifted to this drug, and now you are back to this drug. I believe that there's something we can do with it. You can counsel patient better because you have the prescription history. You can check the weight gain or the weight loss that can be attributed to a side effect or an adverse event. It would be something good that you can offer to a patient. That is called optimizing therapy. It's beyond dispensing, it's beyond inventory. So, even a simple compilation of a prescription of that specific person will improve patient outcomes. And it will advance your pharmacotherapy knowledge as well. So I hope everyone has grasped the relevance of this subject. And the next module, we will going to identify quantifiable measures, risks that will help you with your data analytics later on in the future. That would be all for Module 1. Thank you very much, everyone. And these are the references for our module.